Our reading this morning there from John was read by Ian Wright. Big thank you to Ian for that. And we now have come to some reflections on that reading, which have been written by Tom Wright, who's written a whole series of reflections on the whole of the New Testament. And it's a series of books that I really enjoy making use of when I'm preparing sermons. But I felt that his reflections on this particular reading were worth sharing with you all. Are you sure there'll be room for us all? We were on our way back to a friend's house. There were 2 carloads of us, relaxed and happy after a football match which we'd won. The match had been at another school several miles away, and rather than going back to our own school and from there to our homes, we'd arranged that we would stay with one member of the team who lived much closer to where the game had been played. "I told you, didn't I?" he said. "You'll see, there's plenty of room for you all." We had been imagining that he lived in an ordinary house on an ordinary street, and even with an extension on the back as some of our friends had, ordinary houses only had 4 bedrooms, or maybe 5 at the most. How could he manage to squeeze in 10 of us? Were we all going to sleep on the living room floor or in the garden? What on earth would his parents say? We turned into the driveway and then we realised this wasn't an ordinary street, and it wasn't an ordinary house. It was a mansion. He grinned a bit shyly. "Told you there'd be room, didn't I?" We tumbled out of the cars and he took us upstairs. Long corridors, lots of rooms. We couldn't believe it. It was like a hotel. It was his father's house. And that's the image that Jesus is using. He's going away, and the disciples are naturally anxious about where he's going and whether they will be able to follow him. So he speaks of his father's house. The only other time he's used the expression, it referred to the temple. And the point about the temple within the life of the people of Israel was that it was a place where heaven and earth met. And now Jesus hints at a new city, a new world, a new house. Heaven and earth will meet again when God renews the whole world. At that time, there will be room for everyone. This promise is made as a way of assuring the disciples that though he's going away, it will be for their benefit. He's not going to forget them. He's not going to abandon them. But he reaches out beyond the disciples on that dark spring evening, and he embraces all of us, every single one of us. These are words that are often used at funerals, and we can understand why. We can't see the way ahead, and we need to know not only that there is indeed a way into the unknown future, but that we will be able to find it. Thomas in character is grumpy. "What do you mean we know the way? We don't even know where you're going." Jesus' reply has haunted and confronted the world's imagination ever since. I am the way. If you want to know how to get to the Father's house, you must come with me. Perhaps within the Western world of the last couple of centuries or so, this saying of Jesus has become one of the most controversial. I am the way and the truth and the life. How dare he, people have asked. How dare John or the church or anyone else put such words into anyone's mouth? Isn't this the height of arrogance? To imagine that Jesus or anyone else was the only way? Don't we now know that this attitude has done untold damage around the world, as Jesus' followers have insisted that everyone should give up their own ways of life and follow his instead? I know people, professing Christians, for whom it seems that their central article of faith is their rejection of this idea of Jesus' uniqueness. The trouble with this is that it doesn't work. If you dethrone Jesus, you really enthrone something or someone else instead. The belief that all religions are really the same sounds nice and democratic, though the subtle study of religions quickly shows that it's not true. What you are really saying, if you claim that they're all the same, is that none of them are more than distant echoes, distorted images of reality. You're saying that reality, God, the divine, is remote and unknowable, and that neither Jesus nor Buddha nor Moses nor Krishna gives us direct access to it. But they all provide a way to the foothills of the mountain, but not the way to the summit. It's not just John's Gospel that you lose if you embrace this idea. The New Testament, the whole of early Christianity, insists that the one true living God, the Creator, is the God of Israel, and that the God of Israel has acted decisively within history to bring Israel's story to its proper goal, and through that to address and rescue the world. The idea of a vague general truth to which all religions bear some kind of oblique witness is foreign to Christianity. It is, in fact, in its present form, part of the 18th century protest against Christianity, even though some people still produce it like a rabbit out of a hat, as though it was quite a new idea. The real answer is that, though of course it's true that many Christians and churches have been arrogant in the way they have presented the gospel, the whole setting of this passage shows that such arrogance is a denial of the very truth it's claiming to present. The truth, the life through which we know and find the way, is Jesus himself. The Jesus who washed the disciples' feet and told them to copy his example. The Jesus who was on his way to give his life as a shepherd for the sheep. Was that arrogant? Was that self-serving? Only when the church recovers the nerve to follow Jesus in his own mission and vocation will it be able to recover its nerve fully in the claim of verse 6. Unless it does, though, it loses the vision of the Father which this whole passage sets out before us. Don't come at it with a set, fixed idea of who God is and try to fit Jesus into that. Look at Jesus. Look at Jesus who wept at the tomb of his friend, the Jesus who washed his followers' feet, and you'll see who is the true God. And that was Jesus' answer to Philip. And it's his answer to the natural questions that arise in people's mind today. Only when we as his followers are ourselves continuing to do what Jesus did say and what Jesus has taught, are we likely to be believed when we speak the earth-shattering truth that he spoke. Before we come to our final set of prayers and our final hymn, we have the second of our video diaries for this morning.